Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, issue number 2, cover dated November 1993. The cover is by John Romita Jr. and Al Williamson, so pencils by Romita Jr. and inks by Al Williamson. It is also an enhanced cover. It's on cardstock paper. There's red foil there on Daredevil's costume, and it is embossed as well. So there is an embossing going on, in particular on the figure of Elektra and on the title, the title for the comic as well, The Man Without Fear, where there's Daredevil's radar sense indicated in the embossing. I think it's a great cover. I like the design as well, the book design on the cover too, and we have the creative team here trumpeted: Frank Miller, John Romita Jr., Al Williamson, Christy Shield, colorist, and Joe Rosen on letters. Let's open this one up to the inside cover, and you see we get the creative team once again indicated there, as well as some credits for the production team. So they're the ones doing the design of the comic, because this is not a regular comic printed on newsprint. Instead, it is an enhanced and designy product, and so they definitely deserve their credits there on the inside cover. We also get a note from the editors, Ralph Macchio and Pat Garrahy. The first question that should pop into your mind is, where's the traditional splash page, the typical legend, and the usual ads? We have two answers to this question. Daredevil, The Man Without Fear was originally a graphic novel. When it was broken down into 5 issues, issue 2 ended up a full 32-page issue. No splash page, no legend, and no ads. We think you'll like it this way. What was our second reason? This book is a simple beauty that breaks the traditional, the typical, and the usual. Dig in. And indeed, it does. But interesting that their note kind of registers an anxiety that maybe certain readers, certain fans mightn't recognize this. I might be wondering, where are the usual conventions and tropes of a Marvel comic? That isn't the case with me. So we do have 32 pages of story and art, including a catch-up on what happened in the previous issue. And the main event at the end of the previous issue was the murder of battling Jack Murdock, that is Matt Murdock's father. So he's here identifying the body in the morgue. It's cold, icy cold, he thinks, but not as cold as the thing that grows in Matt's belly. So you can see that look of grim determination on his face. He's made a decision. He spied on his father, declares the third-person narrator. So the third-person narrator, it's free and direct discourse. That means some of the phrasing is what Matt would be thinking. So there's a kind of a blend between third-person and first-person in the narrative captions. He spied on his father. He knows what Jack Murdock did to protect and provide for his son. And he knows the smells and sounds of the killers. And he knows their names: McHale, Gillian, the first two. So here they are, drunk on the street. Really great work by John Romita Jr., really selling us on. It looks like it's supposed to be late 70s, New York City. So the two guys here, they seem to be boasting about their dysfunctional relationships. And here's Matt tapping his blind man's cane on the pavement, and he says behind them, "Drink up, boys, it'll help with the pain." So they're taken by surprise. Who's dumb enough to mess with us? Asks one of them. Let's turn the page and see what happens next. So I really like the way that Romita is showing us the action. This guy here flicking open his switchblade, this guy here knocking his bottle off the lamppost, and now they've weapons and they're going into the dark side alley, and they're confident. It's dark in there, but whoever's down in the alley can't see either. Of course, they don't know anything about Matt's blindness and his radar sense, and they're beaten to a pulp. So the cops arrive, and the guys on the ground, they think it's Murdock. It was Jack Murdock. We killed him, but he's back. So they've confessed the murder too. They'll be going behind bars for life. Then in the gym, the next two, the big one, Slade, whose fists splintered Jack Murdock's jaw and ribs, Slade, and slick little Marcello, who laughed as he carved up Murdock's face. All Matt has to do is throw a circuit breaker. So again, I really like the way that John Romita Jr. has these two characters acting. The huge hulking figure of Slade there, working on the boxing bag, and Slick Marcello there balancing his dagger on his index finger. It's really well done. And then they're blind, as Matt is. "Hey, what happened with the lights?" exclaims Marcello. "I can't stand it when it's dark." So we have the sound effect, Joe Rosen's sound effect there, and Slade trips over the body of his compatriot on the floor, and he also has been attacked, and it looks like his face has been slashed by his own dagger. And then the lights are flicked on, Slade looks behind him, and in the middle of the boxing ring is a boy with a bat and a balaclava mask. And he throws the bat away. He says, "Here, I'll lose the bat if it'll make you feel better." So Slade confidently gets into the boxing ring. He looms massively over Matt there. And we're told Matt thinks of recess, of 100 beatings and endless giggles and taunts. And we saw that in the first issue. He thinks of taking it and taking it and taking it because of his promise to his father not to fight back. And the rage of years becomes a lightning bolt that travels from shoulder to hip to foot, and he releases it. That's fantastic. Just excellent storytelling from John Romita Jr. and also great narration by Frank Miller as well. I love the phrasing. "And the rage of years becomes a lightning bolt that travels from shoulder to hip to foot," and he releases it. And look, he breaks Slade's leg, smashes into his knee, and breaks the leg. It looks brutal. Really, really well done in the art. Let's turn the page. So Slade is on the canvas. And then, next of all, Matt's ready for this guy. He slides a roll of pennies to his fist, and he just starts punching the guy in the face until he knocks him pretty much unconscious there. You can see the blood pouring from his mouth and nose, and Matt just throws the pennies onto the canvas floor of the ring. And just at that moment, the fixer arrives, and Matt smells the scent of tobacco mixed with expensive aftershave, and he has time to kick Slade in the ribs. There's I love the lettering by Rosen as well, crook, just the way that he curves it around. You get a sense of Matt breaking ribs with that kick, until Matt's finished turning ribs into broken, jagged things. I really like this panel too of the fixer flying down the stairs of the gym, and just the detail of him holding his hand to the wall as well, steadying himself because he's panicking. Now pick up the sounds, clatter of fleeing footsteps, awkward, painful sucking of air, a pounding heart. So he runs out of the gym. He's got his driver there, Angelo, and the fixer, the last two. Matt has them in his sights as well. Just fantastic storytelling. So he's running along the edge of this building here, looking down on the street, keeping up with the car. So easy. Stick taught him well. Stick, he'll hate me for this, Matt thinks. And for a moment, Matt cares about this. Then the cold part of him takes over again. So he's out for vengeance. He's going to get payback for the murder of his father, and he lands down on the top of the car. I love the silhouetting there of the driver, his mouth open in shock and surprise, the fixer with his mouth open too, and of course the silhouette of his handgun with the hammer back on it. He's ready to fire. This is great storytelling also. Love the speed lines here from Al Williamson, and then Matt moving forward and smashing the baseball bat right in at the driver, Angelo. Love the little detail of the figurine of Our Lady Mary there as well, and kind of an interesting juxtaposition that the guy has that religious faith, but he's mixed up with the mob, and he's a bad seed himself. This is a great drawing here of the car crashing into the railings of the subway entrance. Love the detail of the smashed glass as well. Again, fantastic inking by Al Williamson, and Matt ends up on the ground. Matt's skull strikes pavement, a lost moment. Then the footsteps heading to the subway. So he stays on the fixer. Love the detail of the fixer's coat there flying as he races down the steps. Matt ignores the dizziness and the sticky, salty taste of his own blood and follows the fixer's heartbeat. It's so fast, so weak, and he's coughing again. Then a horrid horn blast and an unholy roar, a train deafening. And so, of course, Miller spent time living in New York City, and he's able to convey in his narration here, the sounds and sights of New York City, but especially the sound, the deafening sound for Matt with his enhanced senses of the arriving subway train, or the passing subway train. Deafening. Matt can only strain to keep his feet beneath him until it passes. Then a sound made of oil and steel, a revolver cocked, and that breathing, that heartbeat. You can see the fixer's leaning up against the corner of the wall. He's in fear of his life, that heartbeat pounding, fluttering, stopping. The fixer slumps to the floor with a sigh and breathes his last pathetic breath, and Matt is alone in the station. Alone but not finished. One remains, Angelo. So he's going to get even, he's going to get vengeance on all of them who were involved in the murder of his father. Great colouring on this as well by Christy Shield. She's doing amazing work here. And then the scene switches to the hospital. So we've got the original two thugs, and you can see that they have casts and they're in bandages, and they're of the belief that Jack Murdoch is back from the dead and he had 6 arms. The jaded police detective says. So either we got as a ghost, or yous guys been hitting the sauce too hard, or we got as a vigilante. Me, I'm betting on the sauce, but it is a vigilante. One remains, Angelo. He thinks he's escaped. This is a great top-down 3-point perspective shot of Matt on the rooftop there, looking through the open doors of what turns out to be a brothel, escaped to a place of thick perfumes and practiced passion. They know him here. He thinks he's safe. That's Angelo there. He's got his head on the side, or his hands on the side of his head, and out of nowhere comes Matt. It's a raid, think the prostitutes, but they're paid up. So that's a nice little insight into, the corruption of the city and how cops can be bought off. And that's a theme of Miller's work for sure. And also a reason and a justification for the vigilante in the genre of the superhero comic, whether it's Batman, whether it's Daredevil. So the prostitutes start beating on Matt, fists and fingernails and curses and shouts, choking perfume. I love the way that Miller doesn't forget to remind us that Matt is blind and that his other senses are always alert and attuned, such as his sense of smell. Miller always gives us reminders of Matt's sense of smell. Too much, he's overwhelmed. So Matt thrashes, and accidentally and without deliberate intention, he knocks one of the prostitutes backwards through a window, and she falls out over the fire escape, and to her death she prays to God. And then there is the crunch of bone and the splatter of blood across pavement. So Matt escapes. He's horrified. He's exclaiming, "No, no, she's dead. He killed her. He didn't even know her, and he killed her." He runs helpless in horror. He runs to the basement seeking his teacher, not finding him. He runs to the gym. He screams the name, "Stick, stick." This is fantastic. You can just see the horror and the panic on Matt as he's running wildly to Fogwell's gym. He screams until his voice is hoarse and croaking and his throat is full of sand. But there is no answer. This is really, really great stuff. Fantastic. And there's the old posters of boxing matches past. And Matt has inadvertently taken a life. And so his vigilante turn, his determination to get personal vengeance, has in a sense backfired. Now, years later, in the 1997 Deadpool Daredevil annual, Joe Kelly would reveal that the prostitute here, who's knocked out the window inadvertently by young Matt, survived the fall and is in fact Typhoid Mary. Now, Personally, I don't like that retcon. I much prefer the sense that we have here that she's just an anonymous prostitute rather than connected into Daredevil's story. But you let me know what you think about that in the comment section if you feel like it. Blocks away, where is Stick? Well, he's in the interestingly named Terminal Hotel, and he's in dialogue with a compatriot of his, Stone. You must reconsider, Stick, says Stone. The boy has talent. And Stick replies, no, I was wrong about him. Stone says, you've said it yourself 1,000 times. We need all the help we can get. He's undisciplined, emotional. Just look at what he did tonight, replies Stick. Stone says, Stick, we are all that stands between the world and forces of mystic darkness. And we grow old. We need young blood, young strength. In this generation, only 2 adepts have been born, Matt Murdock and the girl, Elektra. And already the girl has been infected with the dark ways. She could well end up recruited by the enemy. Matt Murdock must get one more chance, one more test. Stick is adamant, that is enough, Stone. No more discussion. We can't let our order be compromised. The boy has failed. He's useless to us. So it seems that all of Matt's training, Stick had designs on him to join him and his small group of martial arts adepts in the fight against mystic forces of darkness. But he's given up on Matt because of Matt's prioritization of his emotions and his desire for vengeance. And so this is interesting because we saw this at the end of Frank Miller's original run on Daredevil, but in respect of Elektra, where Elektra trained with Stick's group, and then she got fed up of it and went to find the hand instead. The boy has failed. He's useless to us, says Stick. But things will turn out differently in the future. And as I said at the end of Miller's original Daredevil run, specifically issues 187 to 190. I love Al Williamson's inking, the hatching here that gives us a sense of the planes and shapes of Stick's face. And then the scene switches to Columbia University 1 year later. So we can infer now that Matt is 18 or thereabouts. And here he is. And again, John Romita Jr. Selling us on the Manhattan location of the university too. It's midwinter, which reminds me of the fact that Born Again was also set midwinter. And Foggy's being chased. I really like the lettering here, the little arrow narrative captions. This is Franklin Nelson, freshman student of law. His friends call him Foggy. And another one here, these boys are not his friends. It's kind of a fun comic-specific device that Rosen has come up with. And also it's kind of a reminder of what you'd get in the original Silver Age Marvel comics. So Foggy's knocked to the ground by this car and its driver, Brad. And then we see this huge bruise that he's got on his left eye. It was Brad again, Matt. He says to his roommate, I've never done anything to him. And so Matt there has an ice pack for Foggy's eye. I'm sure you haven't, Foggy. I'm sure there's no reason for it. Bullies never need a reason. And Matt, we have to imagine he's thinking once again maybe about the prospect of doing something about an injustice in the world. The next day, Brad just won't let up. So he's mocking Foggy in the lecture theatre. And Brad here is defiant. I'm not taking any orders from any blimps today. Nelson, he says, it isn't until morning that anybody hears the muffled sobs. Brad's had a long night to think it over, to remember the strong hands that lifted him from his bed like he was a doll, that carried him across campus rooftops, that held him by the ankle, dangling high above cruel pavement. Brad's had a long night to remember the hands and the voice. The voice chilled him more than the winter cold. The voice told him that this was just a warning. The voice told him in great detail what would happen to him if Brad was anything but extremely pleasant to Foggy Nelson. By the time they come for him, Brad is a changed man, or at least He's a boy who is being taught a stern lesson. So, Matt taking on, once again, the role of vigilante. Not that Brad, as a bully, committed any crime particularly, unless, he did knock Foggy over, so that is a bit of a crime. But taking it upon himself to exact justice and do it covertly as well. And so the next day, sitting on the steps of Columbia University Library there, Brad arrives and he's a changed man. I love the way that Foggy's shiner there is indicated by Christy Shields' colours. It's really well done. And Brad is apologetic. He says, I just want you to know I'm really sorry I've been writing you so hard. I've really been a jerk. And he continues, he says, if there's any way I can make good with you, you just let me know. You're okay in my book, Foggy. It's okay if I call you Foggy, isn't it? You can see Matt smiling there. The other students, they're amazed at this turn of events. And this girl up here on the steps is watching Matt here. Foggy's delighted. Get a load of that. You should have seen his face, Matt. And of course, Matt's blind. I wish I could have, Foggy. I dearly wish I could have seen his face. Matt asks this girl here. She comes over. She introduces herself, Kathy, from Old Man Lynch's class. I was just wondering if you could help me out with the exam. I'm a little confused on that Stolting versus West decision. But Matt apologizes. He says, I'm sorry, Kathy, I can't help you. I'm late for class. But the reason is he can't allow himself to respond to her. He can't allow himself emotion. That much he's learned. The cost is too great. So he's all bottled up, his emotions. Look at the Braille watch he's reading there. Great little detail from Romita Jr. and Miller. So the girl, she's not put off. She says to her friend, when her friend says, what a creep. Oh, he's not so bad. He's just really intense. So she's charmed. And so Matt is intense, but who might be the girl for him? Well, we'll discover in a few pages' time. This is a great top-down shot of Foggy and Matt's room, their shared room, all the details of the study desks, and just the disarray and all the fast food around Foggy's bed as well, conveying his character. And Matt can't sleep. And the TV's on there between Foggy's legs, playing an episode, probably a rerun of Star Trek. Matt picks up his boot and expertly knocks the boot on the power line, pulling it out from the wall. It wasn't just the television that kept Matt awake. Foggy's snoring could raise the dead, and just when you get used to it, he changes the tune. So this is really good. This is really well observed here. The onomatopoeia for Foggy's snoring, and again, he still has that big black eye. No use kidding himself. It's not the snoring. Love the 9-panel grid here on this particular page. So Matt is there. I love the way that Romita shows us the window behind Matt, and then in a certain sense we zoom in on one of the window panes and the trees, the deciduous bare trees outside, and the night. It's nothing inside the room, says the third person narration. It's outside, everywhere outside. It's the wind and everything it carries, everything it touches. It charges off the ocean, fierce, bitter, cold. It rattles antennae and shakes power lines and leaves swirling snow in its wake. It roars down concrete canyons, and brittle branches clatter in combat. Really love the alliteration there in Miller's script. Surrendering winter leaves that rustle and skitter like fairies begging Matt to join in the dance. The city never sleeps. Down the street, warmth and kindness to a shivering soul. Music from car radios in 100 different languages. Dogs yip and bark and whine. One howls, celebrating the night. Really love this sequence, and then the fact that Matt is out there and he's celebrating the night too. And before he can even give it a thought, Matt joins the celebration. Superb storytelling. Just a great synergy between Miller and Romita Jr. Fantastic DeLuca effect here of Matt jumping off a water tower along a rooftop and leaping off the side of the roof, bouncing on a street light there, smashing the bulb. It's really great stuff. Dancing on the power lines. and rousing the seagulls there as well. Love this particular borderless panel as he's somersaulting through air. And then a complication, something unexpected. He wasn't interested in going out with Kathy, but maybe there is a woman for him, a scent. And again, that's Miller reminding us that Matt is tuned into senses that we might not normally be, because we're reliant on our vision for the most part, our vision and hearing. A scent, human and fragrant. Up here, yes. And now a breath, another, nearby. A pulse, strong and steady, moving across the rooftops, against the wind, defiant. Footsteps, light as a cat's. Over there, that scent again, not a man's scent, falling now, crazy she's falling. So I like this also in Romita Jr.'s storytelling here, where you can see Elektra as a silhouette in the distance. Matt is gaining on her, or is she slowing so that he can gain on her? And then we're close enough to see her jumping off the side of the building. Crazy, she's crazy, whoever she is, jumping like that. And he's just as crazy to follow her, but that scent of hers. So the pheromones there, they have Matt's attention. It's a scent quickly smothered by day-old garbage in which he lands. Sudden movement at his side, not her, it's an actual cat arching its back there, hissing. He's lost her. No, from the distance. She tosses him a soft chuckle, drawing him to her, taunting him. She's heading for the park. So heading to Central Park there, he locks on the scent, the tantalizing sounds. He can't lose her now. He'll catch her and find out who she is, provided this blind man can cross the street. Great sequence here of him leaping from the icy pavement right over the top of this yellow cab, but just catching his runner or trainer there on the cab's rooftop sign, and it throws him off and he lands on the pavement there. So he's not infallible, and he's rattled by this intriguing woman that he's following. And then he hears somebody crying for help from Central Park, and now a blood-chilling scream followed by another chuckle. So she's playing a game with him, and her scent clinging to rubber and cloth. A trail, quite a trail, all her clothes on the pavement. And then this is really something in this particular comic. We have her panties there, and they are diaphanous. They're see-through, because you can see through to Matt's tracksuit behind them. And look at this. I mean, this is pushing it by Miller and Romita Jr. He smells them. And past the blood pounding in his ears, an engine hums, a bottle pops beneath a tire, a man clears his throat. Love this, his silhouetted face, and it's the cops. They tell him not to move a muscle. I got him, Lou, you find the girl. Matt could run, he could flatten the cops. It would be easy, but that would be breaking the rules. That would be breaking the law. And we have here an implication of, in his mind, he is seeing, remembering the girl, the prostitute, falling out the window to her death. He remembers the last time he lost control. He remembers shattering window glass. He remembers a pathetic prayer to God. So he has limits on how much he's prepared to break and play with the law. So he puts his hands out. I'm all yours, officer. Officer, he says. Elektra's there. She's smiling. She is delighted at the outcome of the game. And the cops are baffled. Where's the girl? She's there putting on her clothes again. And one of the cops checks Matt's ID. This here ID says the creep is handicapped blind. Must be crazy going to the park at night. And Matt says, yes, sir. I guess that was pretty stupid of me. And whoever that woman is, she enjoyed every second of it. So you can see it on her face there. And also in Christy Shields' colours, a little bit of red colour on Elektra's cheeks. She too is aroused by Matt. The next day on campus, it's snowing hard. Everybody's wrapped up. And Matt pulls Foggy back from another car arriving just before it might knock into him. And who's the driver? It's Elektra. And she's got the top down, even though it's snowing, and Foggy's baffled. "What are you doing?" he calls out to Matt. And Matt simply leaps in to the passenger seat. So it's a red sports car. Foggy's left there wondering. Sometimes you're kind of hard to figure out, pal. And Elektra and Matt are on the road, and she's driving crazily. He tells himself he shouldn't enjoy this, and now the air goes thin, mountain air, the kind that makes your head go light. Snow stabs at exposed skin, painful bracing. And Matt finally speaks and says, "Excuse me, miss, but perhaps you should put the top up." Really like this particular panel there, just the look on Elektra's face as she puts the side of her face against the steering wheel, sheltering behind the windshield, the snow flying past here, giving a sense of speed and motion. Why, she asks. Sudden lurch, she drives right off the road, through the crash barrier, wild slalom ride, through clustered trees, headlong rush toward certain death, an expert spinning stop. Matt's heart is pounding. It feels great. "We're close to the edge, Matt Murdock," she says. "One step from the end." She walks right out to the edge of the cliff. "This is where we belong, always on the brink," she says. "The rest lead safe, numb lives. When I saw you on the rooftops, I knew we're two of a kind, drawn to the edge and past it." And it looks like she somersaults backwards off the edge of the cliff. No, thinks Matt, to be continued. So he has this guilt and fear about what happened with the prostitute a year earlier. And Elektra, her wildness, her fearlessness, is evoking that fear as well as excitement for him. And this cliff as well reminds me of the mountain that Elektra will have to climb at the end of Daredevil 190, which marks her redemption. So here she's falling off it, but in the future she'll climb something like it and be redeemed. But this is Miller revisiting his introduction of Elektra into Daredevil's story and presenting her as a much racier, much more of a femme fatale type of character than she is in the original run when Matt meets her in college. So this is an interesting revisit by Miller of that time and deepening of the story, as well as making it edgier, racier, darker, and absorbing. And so here is a preview in pencil. It's the pencils, Romita Jr.'s pencils, for the cover to the next issue. And then on the back cover, we have a close-up of the panel of Stick saying, "The boy has failed, he's useless." Fantastic. Really great comic by Miller, Romita Jr., Williamson, Christy Shield, Joe Rosen, everyone doing absolutely splendid work. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.